Let us understand basic concept of composite functions. We'll also see that composition of function in composition of function the order matters. So here are three questions for you based on two functions. We are given f of x as equal to square root of x and g of x is equal to x square. You need to write down domain and range of the following functions and sketch their graph. First one is p of x, which is f of g of x. Q of x is g of f of x, right? And you will see that these two are not same, they are different. So then explain the differences and similarities between p of x and q of x. Perfect. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. In case you want to learn from me, feel free to send an email on globalmathinstitute@gmail.com. My students are right there on the top, getting admission to the best universities and even with scholarship. Now, let us understand what a composite function and see how do we do problems related to these. In the playlist, you'll find hundreds of examples. So here we are given two functions, f of x as square root of x and g of x as x squared, and their composition, the first one, p of x equals to f of g of x. That is what we need to figure out. You can pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestions. So let's begin with the very first one, which is we need to find what is f of x. As given here, f of x is composed of f of g of x, right? Now, g of x is given to us as x squared, so we can write this as f of x squared. You see, the inside function has to be treated first. So g of x, which is the inside function, is x squared, and that's how we'll write it. So replace g of x with the function itself, which is f of x squared. Now, we are given that f of x is square root of x being the argument. Do you see this x and this x, right? Square root of whatever inside, and therefore we could write this as square root of inside we have x squared. Do you see that part? So x squared. Square root of x squared will always be positive, right? Now, do you know what is square root of square root of x squared? F of x, this is actually not just x, it is absolute value of x. So we have the function which is absolute value of x. You can sketch it now, right? So 0, 0, 5, 5 at minus 5 also it is going to be positive 5. It will be something like this. Is that clear to you? So that becomes the function. Once you sketch it, you can write down the domain and range of this function. We can write domain of this function. As you can see, x belongs to real numbers, right? And the range, the y values, is y belongs to real numbers. However, y is greater than equal to 0. Is that clear to you? That is how we can solve this particular question. Perfect. Now let's take question number 2, which is q of x is g of f of x. I hope you have understood this strategy. I'd like you to now pause the video, answer this question, right? So q of x is g of f of x. Inside function now is g f of x, right? So you write g of f of x is given to us as square root of x. Now g of x is defined as x squared, so we'll do square root of x whole square. Now, square root of x when squared will be what? Now, this is very important to understand. So now here, let's look into the domain first, right? So that you understand the difference between question number 2 and question number 1. So when we are saying square root of x is the inside function, then the domain is that x values are greater than equal to 0. You get the whole idea. And therefore, when we are going to do square root, we are only going to get the values as equal to x where x is greater than equal to 0. You could write absolute value of x, however, the domain is only greater than equal to 0. Negative values are not permitted since f of x is not defined for the negative values. And therefore, this graph will be a straight line in our first quadrant and be like this. Do you see that? So the domain is x greater than equal to 0, not all real numbers as in the first case. Range, as you can very clearly see, is y belongs to real numbers. However, sorry, y is all the real numbers where y is greater than equal to 0 also. Correct? So the graph is in quadrant 1. Perfect. So I hope you have understood how these two questions are related. So that brings us to question number 3, which is we need to find the similarities and differences between the two. So as far as the differences are concerned, clearly their domains are different, right? So as far as p of x is concerned and q of x is concerned, as far as the domain is concerned, we know that x belongs to real number in the first case, but in the second case, x does belong to real number. However, x is greater than equal to 0. You see that? Now, as far as the range is concerned, for both y belongs to real numbers where y is greater than equal to 0. So that is same, right? So that becomes a major difference between the two cases and the major similarity between the two cases, right? So domain and range itself can tell you what are the differences and what are the similarities. One function being x, which is basically q of x, right? And on the same graph, I could draw the other function, which is p of x with a green line, say like this. Do you see that? So in quadrant 1, it overlaps. They are exactly same in quadrant 1. However, q of x is restricted, but p of x is not restricted. Perfect. So that is how you're going to answer this particular question. I hope it makes sense. Feel free to write your comment, share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for your time and all the best.